Okay. Sorry about that. A bit late on now. Just get rid of that. Just keeping the track of a parcel, which is basically what my phone's popped on at the moment. It's just yep. Just gonna, yeah. Got this package in the door today. Dismember, like an ever-flowing stream from UK EM Records. It's a little gatefold. The vinyls on these two. I just thought I showed you out of package. Gonna give my guest a bit of a call in a minute. So I'll call him sooner, but obviously, for obvious reasons, I had to wait for my package to arrive, which was, well, what I just said. Okay, just gonna do what I do before I chat to people. I hope everybody's well. You know, you're keeping safe. You're not, you're not going stir crazy. Okay, I got 2 viewers by just looking at it. Now I need to share it to my usual page. So I should just be sharing it to more people. If you want to share, by all means do. Help me a lot while I'm doing this. What do I share my timeline? Okay, I think I'm done. Just phone him up. Do what I usually do. There you go. Just do a bit more sharing before I go around showing it to more people. Well, before I even start. Might as well do it. Friend request. Not private DM, and then I'll probably just share it onto the people. Or it's just going to take the piss. Well, I'm getting 6 viewers, as I can see by just there. I've got to keep them up. Got Cam and my last guest, Greg. Thank you for. Almost forgot. That's fair enough, Greg. Okay, just gonna crack open. What's that? Amber Ale from Bristol Beer Factory. Another package I got. Alright, Cam, I'll give you a call. 8 viewers. Thank you for tuning in to Jake's Metal Chat episode 5. Almost went 4 again. Jeez. I like the fact the other guests I had: David Gregor, DSL Costume, John, Greg, and now I'm going to have Mr. Cam on. I'll just check a few things. Yeah, HDMI. Don't want any more uninvited guests like that filter I had on Greg's chat. Hello again, Jay. Happy to join in, and cheers for the fun stream. Oh, you're welcome, Greg. Glad you like the filter. Made you look like a professor. Okay, just go on Cam. I might have to turn this up. 13 out, do. It's a Cam.
I see you. Do you see me?
Yeah, I see you. I can see you, well, clear as a picture.
There we go.
I can see you. I can.
What's going on?
Not a lot. Just getting ready for this and waiting for a new tripod holder because the other one's a bit nah. So I thought I'd get a new one.
Right.
So I was a bit late
Right
calling
on,
you.
right on.
So I was a bit late calling you up. Ah, David Gregor says, hello, Cam.
Ah, Greg, what's up, bud? Come on.
Yay. Just
Sorry,
hello.
I'm just shooing the dog outside here with me.
Ah, fair enough. What breed?
Fuck. I'm in the house. I'm in the house too much. I gotta fucking get outside sometimes.
Yeah, you know, I did that yesterday. Just went for a walk up the field just near my house. And went up to my old street where I grew up.
Ah, right on.
Because I thought, yeah, need to have a walk. And you might as well get outside if it's a lovely day. In good old Canada.
Beautiful today. It's fucking gorgeous right now. I don't even know what temperature it is, but it's hot enough.
Yeah, it's hot enough. It's hot enough. Like I said, we're in Dawn of the Dead.
Bam.
Bam.
What version is that of a shirt? I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's a different one. I got this at Download 2008. And I found it. I would have got just the original one with the zombie head on it, but I thought, now I'll get,
Yeah.
I want to say his name's Brad.
Cool.
You know, he gets bit by zombies and he comes out. They think they're going to attack him, and all of a sudden it's just like a zombie. He's like, alright. Right, let's just.
Oh, that's Flyboy.
Flyboy.
That's Flyboy in the movie.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. So, for anyone that doesn't know who this man is.
That's one of my favorite movies, really.
Dawn of the Dead. It's a brilliant film.
Yeah, and I ended up going to, when we put on Night of the Living Dead live play in Toronto
Live play.
with Russ Striner, who was Johnny and helped produce Night of the Living Dead, and John Russo, who wrote it and acted in it and produced it and everything else. George Romero, obviously, with George Romero, so he hung out in the background and you know, approved everything and whatever.
Yeah.
So it was mostly John and Russ that were the main guys that we dealt with, like, on a daily basis during the play. So before the play hit Toronto, we ended up they invited us up to Pittsburgh, where they live, and we obviously brought a camera, and they brought us around to all the historic sites that they filmed a lot of their movies at. So their old studio, and then in the basement of the old studio, ended up finding they still had the shelves up of all the original negative films that they had, and all the stamps of all the movies that they did at that time. So there was The Crazies and Season of the Witch and all this other stuff that George Romero did. So they took us into the basement. So obviously the four of us that went up were just kind of like all looking at each other like, holy shit.
Holy shit.
And then,
yeah, a bit like that.
Holy shit.
That is a word.
And the basement where they were holding these movies is where they actually filmed the basement scene of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, wow.
The original. So the stairs, we took a shot up. It's the same stairs.
Same
right
stairs.
with the door on the left-hand side.
Well, all those years later.
And what's that?
All those years later, it's still the same.
It literally is pretty much the same. You can see where some of the support beams are still, and some of the electrical boxes that are on the wall in the original movie are still down there also. So obviously, us being nerds, we picked everything out, and we're like, holy fucking Jesus Christ, this is where it all happened in the basement. This is crazy.
That's awesome.
And then they took us to the where the house was. The house was torn down, but you can still see from certain angles where they shot out into the field when the zombies were coming towards the farmhouse and everything like that. And then they took us to Monroeville Mall, which Dawn of the Dead was filmed, and I kind of nerded out.
As you would. If you're a horror fan, then yeah.
I did.
You're just going to nerd out about these places.
Yeah. I nerded out so fucking bad. As soon as we drove up into where the mall was, I literally was looking up, and it's the same street posts and lamps that are in Dawn of the Dead, still in the middle of the parking lot. So right away, I was like, I think I had a tear to my eye. I was like, holy shit! Like, there's the spot. This is where J.C. Penney's is in the movie and everything like that. So we got out of the van, and Russ and John were like, all right, we're gonna take our time. We'll go inside or whatever. So then we all started walking in, and then literally I just kept going past them, and I went right into the store, and then I went to look. I just kept going, and I just left everybody. I couldn't fucking believe it, man.
Bye.
I was down where the stores were. I was like, that's where that store is. That's where the gun shop is. That's where the video arcade was. That's over there. That's where the hallway was, where they went down to board it up so that they had. Oh, where are we here? Yeah, so board it up so that's where their access. That's where their access was to go up into the ceiling to where their room was. And there was one spot still on the main floor where it had in the one part in the movie you see there's a zombie in the pond where he's picking up change and he's just looking at it in the pond or whatever, and that pond is still there with a little bridge archway over top of it. So that was the only most original thing that was still in there. Like, obviously the ice rink's gone, the giant clock is gone, and all that kind of stuff. So that monument there, I literally just stood there and I just fucking was looking around.
Yeah, I'd be nerding out as well if I was there. I'd be like, oh my god, it's this. It's where Tom Savini jumped off. Ah!
I totally did. I totally did all that.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know who this man is, this is Cam, or Cannibal Cam, or he's probably got more nicknames. And he's working on a documentary called The Growl, which I've seen a trailer to, and it looks freaking amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. So if there's a lot of big death metal fans obviously in the UK. Once it's out, let's all watch it. Get some beers and play some death metal, maybe. So,
I'm in.
Yeah, we might as well do it, and hopefully when this whole pandemic ends, we can meet up at Quebec Death Fest or wherever and just have a chat in person. That'd be great.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Quebec Death Fest has been cancelled this year.
Well, this year. Next year, I mean, like, next year.
Yeah.
Obviously next year when it is up and running. They had to do that with Bloodstock as well. They had to postpone it until next year. So, since we were just talking about horror, I think I showed you this anyway. It's a picture of me with Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, right.
At a Star Trek convention.
Yeah.
So I thought, because I think I told you as well.
You're a Star Trek guy. But you're a Star Trek guy, right?
I do like Star Trek. I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. I do like, one of my favourite is Next Generation. So, Picard. Fight me, people. If you like Kurt, that's fine, but Picard for me is Patrick Stewart all the way.
Right. He was good in Patrick Stewart was good in there was a movie that came out a few years ago called The Green Room.
Yes.
And
the punk rockers and the neo-Nazis.
He's crazy in that movie, man.
Yeah, I just thought, well, he's not going over the top crazy. He's just like very calm and collected, and he's more psychopathic that way.
So he's just the leader of all the skinheads. Right?
It's just like you're not gonna leave this place alive. Well, shit, I'm gonna get killed by Patrick Stewart. So yeah, let's talk about some metal here, people. Let's talk some metal. And what T-shirt are you wearing?
Atomic Aggressor from Chile.
Well, I'm gonna have to give them a listen.
From the 80s.
80s, well, listen to a lot of those bands, obviously. I had to sort out my CD collection because there's just so many CDs, and a lot of them would be from the 80s, obviously. So let's go back to when you started getting into metal. When was that? We'd like to know.
Here.
Gotta go way back.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to almost like the late 70s, really.
We can go back in time.
I was born in 74. What's that?
We can go back that far. We'll go back.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what.
Well, that's what we got. That's what I asked all you guys. When you get into metal, I got into metal this far back. It's like, oh, when? I don't know, the 60s. Okay.
Yeah.
But you were saying you were born in 1974.
Yeah, 74, and my dad actually, as I got a few years older, I remember seeing he had a bass guitar in the closet, and I remember to this day that he had this cool looking black flowered printed bass, and I would stare at it for hours, kind of like I didn't really know what it was. I did, but I didn't. So I wouldn't touch it because it was it was your dad's and whatever.
You don't touch dad stuff.
So I would, yeah, pretty much. So they collected him and my mom and I. They collected records. They had all kinds of albums laying around. My dad was a big funk and soul guy, and my mom was into like the early Beatles and Beach Boys and a lot of the that 50s 60s kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would sit there and I would stare at all these these album covers and everything, and I just started putting it on and listening to this music and wondering what is this, and it's like, oh, Steely Dan and Pointer Sisters and Donna Summer and and all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of neat. Music at my fingertips. So then I pretty much told them, I was like, I want headphones. I want a set of headphones. So they obviously they grabbed me some headphones, and then I was like, oh, I can plug it into the radio and let's see what's on the radio. So then I started, obviously listening to these radio stations, and then all of a sudden, I heard Van Halen's Eruption.
Oh, nice. That's a classic.
So, yeah, so right away I was like, holy shit, like what the fuck is this? And I recorded it on my tape. And I actually still have that tape that I recorded it on. And right after that, I was like, okay, I need to find out more of this shit. So then, obviously, going to school, it was like grade 3, grade 4. I started seeing people dressed up as Kiss, and I seen Alice Cooper shirts, and I seen this one guy. He had an Iron Maiden shirt on, Number of the Beast. So I mean, I'm just a young fucking kid, and these older like grade 8s, I guess you'd want to call them the grade 8 kids.
The grade 8 kids.
I didn't really talk to them because I was kind of scared. So whatever. And
that makes sense.
I ended up seeing some of the records in the record stores, like Mob Rules from Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and everything. And then it turned out my one neighbor, his older brother, which I didn't know, was into heavier stuff. So he had Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden.
Nice.
And I just sat there and I stared at it, and I was like, okay, this is ridiculous.
So what is this?
I don't know what this is. And then literally, I think it was about a week or so after, Flight of Icarus video came on TV on one of the video stations or whatever, and yeah, like that was it, man. I got into Ozzy, I got into everything, and fucking, that was it.
Just goes from there. And I was kind of the same way, because I got into Sabbath and Hendrix and Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, AC/DC, and then it went to Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, Pantera, and eventually it went to like Cannibal Corpse and Obituary and Suffocation, Morbid Angel. Yeah, my taste is just, it's just varied over the years.
It's all over the place. Yeah, and I mean, I loved everything that was on the radio. I loved, whether it was like 70s classic rock or 70s like pop rock or disco or dance or whatever. Like I loved everything, man. And
that's cool.
Then I went hard on hip hop and breakdance in the early 80s, and I wouldn't say I went underground, but I was like, okay, there's something going on here in the background, all this fucking, all this breakdance and hip hop and everything and rap. And I totally delved right into that, like hard. Like I loved it all, man. Like Nucleus, we talked about last night. Steve-O talked about Nucleus.
Yeah, I caught a bit of that.
That was one of the early breakdance tunes, and Grandmaster Flash and all that kind of stuff. So I fucking totally went into all that, and that led me until, let's see, I started skateboarding probably around 84, 85.
Yeah.
And then met a few other skaters around 86, 87. And then they started showing me skateboard videos, which had the best soundtracks that I've ever heard on any videos, really. It was like, you know, Black Flag and Circle Jerks and The Faction and JFA and all these punk bands, Dinosaur Jr. and all this stuff. And I think one of them had a Death Angel song on it.
Oh, nice.
And I was just like, okay, shit's getting a little heavier here.
It's getting heavy. It's getting heavy.
And all of a sudden, it was just like, okay, there's Slayer, there's Testament, there's Metallica, there's everything else. And, you know, I liked that as much as I could, because, I mean, you know, going from punk and everything like that, I was like, holy fuck, metal, like, this is even more aggressive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need something, it's almost like I need something heavier now.
Where can I go from here, sort of thing, you know? Like, where can you go from listening to punk and then you get into Dark Angel? Where can you go from there? And all of a sudden, you got the death metal movement. Well, the death metal scene, should I say, let me phrase.
Because my buddy was into, he had some Death Angel, he had DRI, he had some other stuff too. So I was like, you know, Suicidal Tendencies, and I was like, well, this shit's fucking awesome, man. Especially like being a skater, this is what you want, fast, aggressive shit. So this was like perfect. And then obviously still skateboarding and starting to meet some new groups and then getting into high school, start meeting some different weird people and stuff. And a buddy of mine in 88, 89 was still one of my best friends to this day.
Awesome.
He found a compilation of all these UK hardcore power violence, fastcore bands and stuff like that. And then on there was Napalm Death and Extreme Noise Terror. So I was just like, okay, I guess this is where
I love those bands. I love those. I love Napalm Death. Love Extreme Noise Terror, because I saw them in. First time I saw them actually was at this what was a gig / pub called gig venue / pub called Le Pub. Original, and I'm not taking the piss out of it. It's just you go upstairs, the bar's there, and then you look and you go downstairs and the stage is right in front of you, and they played on that.
Right on. That's cool, man. I wish I got to see
it.
I still need to see Extreme Noise Terror.
You're in for a treat then, because they're fast, they're aggressive, and lots of fun. Because I got 3 mates who are in another band from Wales. I guess Extreme Noise Terror's all over the place. So they got 3 members from Wales, and the 3 of them are from a band called Desecration. I don't know if you heard of them. Oh, we don't mind the dog. Yeah, so Desecration from Wales. They're like one of the biggest death metal bands from Wales. So give them a listen.
Send me some links, man.
Oh yeah, definitely after this. Definitely after this. And then, well, obviously you got into the metal scene. You listened to punk, and then you got the metal, and then obviously you formed a band with some of the guys in the scene. Can you tell people what that band's called? Because I already know.
Right.
You're old.
Because when I first heard, like, I started hearing all this progressive weird shit, and then there was this weird, you know, underground network going on. I wasn't sure what to think of it all, because I mean, you know, it's all new to me, and I didn't want to step on toes. And do you record a demo? Do you do all this? And then a buddy of mine, still to this day too, my buddy Metal Dan, who shows up in the trailer once in a while, he started giving me ads, and you know, telling me this is how the underground works. Here's your zines, and you know, the little flyers that you send out and everything like that. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what you do. So my buddy that introduced me to like Napalm Death and Extreme Noise Terror, he started playing bass. Another friend of ours started playing drums, so we all just kind of started just playing together. And our first band was called Scabs, and we were just playing noise grind stuff like early Napalm or Hell Nation and Demise and all these other like power violence kind of grind bands.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I was getting more into death metal. So then we ended up changing the name to DPA, which was Devouring Putrid Afterbirth. So we started.
That's a cool name.
Sending out.
That's a cool
We
name.
started sending out the ads. They started sending out the ads and everything, and people started writing us and everything, and the ad was just like, 4-song demo coming soon. Niagara's heaviest, death metal band or whatever it is, because we were the first. Literally, we were the first like heavy
cool.
band. We had our buddies in Emerald Rain. They were like a progressive thrash metal band, and we had Ascetic. They were a thrash band. Crucified. They were a thrash band. But nobody was doing death metal. Like, nobody was doing grind. Nobody was doing any of that shit. So right off the gate, I was like, holy fuck, like, we need to start something.
We need to do this.
Tell people, like, fuck. Yeah, like, we can do this and fuck off to your music. This is just going to be fucking noise. So, yeah, so we recorded some demos and stuff like that. Hold on a second.
Oh, I thought I was muted.
Craig Newman's trying to call me.
Oh, Craig Newman.
I'll call him after.
I'll call him after.
Yeah, I'll call him after. So then we started doing some ads and stuff, and then me and my buddy bass player, we started a fanzine. So we started like getting hard and everything like that, and death metal was just kind of taking over.
Yeah.
So then we were just like, DPA, Devouring Future Afterbirth. It's almost hard to say. It's long. Let's change the name again. So then we ended up changing it to Mangled.
Mangled people.
Then, so then we recorded our 4-song demo on top of my garage on a reel-to-reel, and it was literally one take each. It was fucking first song, second song, third song, fourth song. Demo was done in probably like an hour.
Because I listened. Yeah, because I listened to it when you linked me it when we had a chat before. And I was like, listening to Mangled now. This is really cool. I was like, wow, this is an old school death grind.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because I mean, we were heavily influenced by a lot of the Buffalo and Niagara Falls bands that were going on, like Grotesque Infection and Baphomet and Cannibal and Suffocation and all that stuff. They're all fucking Mortician, all that. So we were that was our scene. We loved the New York sound, like that was our shit. So we tried to do kind of what everybody else was doing, and obviously us being like 16 and 17 and shit. We recorded that 4-song demo. I think we put out maybe 100 copies worldwide, and then, we tried. We had more riffs, and we had some more songs going on after that. But unfortunately, our drummer just kind of was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And
it's always the thing. There's always one member. It's like, I don't want to do this no more. It's like, well.
So he ended up ditching, and the bass player and I, we were kind of jamming for a bit, but nothing was really happening, and that was kind of it for that.
So that was the end of Mangled.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. That sucks, doesn't it, people? You get a band together, and then all of a sudden one member's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. If that was me, I'd be like, look, let's just see how long we can go. If you don't like it after this many months, then yeah, all right, we'll quit. Because I was just picturing it when I heard your stuff. That, oh yeah, Mangled would still be going nowadays if people were, committed or whatever the circumstances were. I could see you guys playing for the place. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see this band Mangled. People are like, who the hell's Mangled? It's a death grind band from the early 90s. What? No. You know what? I'm not going to explain to those people. Like, I don't know who this is. But we're speaking about Grotesque Infection. You played with them at Niagara Falls Death Fest in 93.
93.
Yeah, because it's in the footage that you filmed. I was like, who's this band Grotesque Infection? I got to listen to them. These guys are cool. Why ain't they going anymore?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of that too. The early 90s, everybody was getting, more or less, everybody was starting to get a little tired of, I guess, death metal. Everybody was jumping on the alternative and
alternative grunge.
So a lot of people jumped on the, the Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains bandwagon, and that that pretty much ruined a lot of fucking good bands. Because I mean, I get it. I get natural progression. You want to, listen to different shit. You want to play different shit. But I mean, like, don't just stop like this fucking unbelievable band to go start playing some Soundgarden. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, because if you started playing something like Carcass, and all of a sudden, like you said, Soundgarden. Don't get me wrong, I like Soundgarden, but then you're going from something extreme to still heavy, but is a bit more mellow, as it were. Mainstream. I got a mate. Totally. I got a mate here who's I mentioned him before. My mate Simon. He's got a lot of CDs, and sometimes he just jokes around saying, "Oh, that's a bit mainstream." It's like, okay, we can joke about it. You can joke about this sort of thing. It's fun because he listens to a lot of gore grind and porno grind and brutal death, slamming death, and death doom death, all of it. Me, I'm like, well, yeah, death metal, doom death doom, black death, thrash death, gore grind, grindcore. Like I said, my mix is all over the place. It just keeps going. Sometimes I'm like, oh, just listen to death metal. Oh no, I'll listen to a bit of funeral doom. No, I'll listen to grindcore. No, I'll listen to folk metal. Oh no, bloody icon. So yeah, Mangled ended, and what got you into doing like radio stuff and all that? Because you did radio stuff.
Like Metal Dan, he was doing a zine. He was doing a zine a few years before I got involved in a lot of stuff. His magazine was called Metal Assault. So he was fucking like hard into the underground and getting like review copies from labels and everything. He ended up doing his last zine. He ended up doing an interview with Bill Ward. Tony Iommi. And,
still nice.
Peter Steele from Typo, and like he was fucking making some like waves, man. Like he was in there like at the beginnings kind of thing. So he had these really cool connections. So he always did a zine, and then I started doing a zine and just trying to help promote metal as much as I could. Like I'm still doing it now, right?
Yeah, that's what I do. I just share a mate of mine's band or another band that I'm into. Like, listen to this. Check out my mate's band. Buy my mate's new album, or just whatever. Because one mate, I was looking at the genre of it. It was like death, thrash. I think doom metal was mixed into it, and then for some reason, I don't know if this was part of it. It said thrash, death, doom, swing metal. So kind of had a bit of a groove to it, you know? But I don't know. I could hear like some groove parts in there. I thought, yeah, it's really cool stuff. I was like, two of them I know, and the other one I don't know, and that's the vocalist. It's only the guitarist and the drummer I know. And they're all different bands. They're all done different. Because I got a lot of mates who are in like either just one band or a lot of different bands, and it's like, how can you juggle these many bands? Because I got a mate from Sweden, but he lives here in Bristol, and he's in a ton of different bands, and I don't know how he does it. His name's Johnny. He's in it.
You just designate an hour. You designate an hour a day per band. I guess that's how it is.
Yeah, it's my mate Johnny, because he's done that band with Cam Lee. Because Cam Lee spoke about it on your interview, and I can't remember the band name now, but it's something to do with Norse mythology.
Oh, Naturalman?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking great band on Transcending Obscurity Records.
Yeah, my mate Johnny's the one who does all the instruments.
Ah, Johnny Peterson.
That's the one. Yeah, that's a mate of ours here. So if you want to check out his bands, he's got a lot of different bands. He's got Henry Kane, which is obviously named after the bad guy in Poltergeist.
Yep.
He's got a lot. Ash Cloud, which is another mate of mine here from Bristol. He's in a band called Body Horror, who's the one I told you about before. Plays guitar in that band. They all got. A lot of my mates have different bands, but some gig, some don't. But What are you gonna do?
So back to the radio. So back to the radio question.
Yeah. Radio.
Dan was writing for this magazine from around here called Late at Night Magazine, and it was printed 100,000 copies, Southern Ontario and Buffalo, Niagara Falls, New York, and everything like that. So he was doing the metal section in that magazine, and I was doing the punk stuff. So him and I, we were still doing our own thing, doing editorial work, going to shows, interviewing bands, everything like that.
Yep.
So it was around '97 where Dan comes up to me, and actually I started Coffin Rot. It was my other death metal band.
I was listening to that. I was listening to that as well. That's really good, really cool stuff. Because I heard the Friday the 13th Part 2 sample that was in there. It's like, I know that sample. That's fucking cool. It's like, Jason, mother is talking to you. No, Jason, your mother's not talking to you. Shut up. It's someone tricking you.
Yeah.
Stop it, kill her.
That's the best.
Stab her in the leg. All right, cut her with the spear. Okay, that's fine. That's actually the first Friday the 13th film I watched.
Oh, right on. You have to. If you're gonna watch a Friday, you have to start at the beginning. Yeah. Every time. Yeah. That's what I tell everybody. Oh, I've never seen a Friday the 13th. I just know it's Jason. I'm like, well, then you got to start at number 1 and let me know.
Well, yeah, start number 1, but yeah, let's carry on with this interview question I was asking you. Like you say, you were doing all the punk, he was doing all the metal, and spreading the word about the scene.
So he ended up. So he messages me. So he calls me up. And he's like, actually, there's the university close to us, Brock University here in St. Catharines. They had a college radio station that they were kind of bringing back again. Oh, cool. So he hits me up and he's like, hey, dude, we should do a radio show. Like, honestly, man, like between the metal that you have and the metal that I have, like, let's fucking do it. Because because this is just what we wanted to do anyways. It's super fun. And just spreading the good word. So I was like, fuck, man, let's do it. What else you got? I mean, I was trying to do Coffin Rot, and we couldn't find a drummer. So that was kind of like...
That's always the thing.
Background. Yeah, there's just never drummers.
There's never any drummers. No, it's like here in Bristol. You want to get a drummer for a certain band, or not just Bristol, but anywhere in the UK. You tell them what band you're in. It's like, oh yeah, I play... like you said, oh yeah, I play like bluesy hard rock, doom metal, or whatever. It's like, nah, I like playing brutal death. They all like to play brutal death or grindcore or thrash, which is fun. I like to play that stuff.
And especially back then too, there wasn't any drummers that wanted to play that or even knew how to play that shit. So that was the problem around here too, because I mean, we had some bands in Buffalo and stuff, but they're not coming over here. There's a couple bands in Toronto, but Toronto's an hour and 20 minutes from here. So it was just kind of like we were on our own. So Coffin Rock just kind of stayed in the background for a bit. We ended up getting a drum machine and just doing that.
Yeah, if you can't find a drummer, folks, get a drum machine. It works just as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what me and my mate are doing for my sometimes what we're doing for our gold grind band that I told you about. I'm still working on riffs, so it's all brand new, people. Can't talk any more about it, but I think we're just going to use a drum machine. If we ever play live, it might just be a drum machine. Me on guitar, bass, and then a mate on guitar, a mate on vocals, and my mate Simon, who I mentioned earlier. So there we go. Because he likes his gold grind. Gold grind. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind gourd grind to a degree, as long as there's not too much pitch vocals. Then I can handle it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I'm going to use pitch shifter all the time, or it's going to be a mix. If we can mix it up, that's great.
Be a mix like Carcass did.
Yeah.
That's all.
So we'll go like Carcass, well, influences, he said. Because I was playing some stuff. I recorded myself playing some stuff. It was all, more like the sort of... you saw that chuggy, sort of groovy riff where it's like... like that one. And he said, that's on point for what we want to do, but can you go a bit more mortician and regurgitate? Yeah. Regurgitate from Sweden. They're not going anymore, unfortunately, which sucks, because that would have been a band I'd love to see. And, well, speaking of Sweden, I got this today.
Oh, look at that, eh?
Yeah, I got it from UK EM Records is a label here. Of course, got the they re-released this on vinyl.
Oh, sweet.
And little gatefold.
Oh wow! God damn.
Yeah, because when I saw them Scandinavia Death Fest, they played a lot of stuff on here, which was great.
Right.
Well, this has got bonus tracks, so yeah. Dismember people.
Right on, right on.
You know, me and Cam were just going to talk death metal, you know, and grinding horror films and why his kids don't love death metal. Because your kids don't like death metal.
Much. No, not really.
Because you got a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old, is that right?
What's that?
You got a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old, is that right?
Yeah, totally.
And they're just like, Dad, we don't get this music.
Yeah. Yeah, they like their music, but they're not into the heavy stuff.
Yeah, they just look at you and think,
they like. Yeah.
What is this?
I know. That kind of bummed a little bit.
What are you gonna do? You can't. Yeah, because I think you. Was there a time you tried to get them into the music you like, or?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
All the time, every day.
Yeah, all the time. It's like, listen to this band, Dad. I don't get it. I just
never care.
Send them my way. Send them my way. I'll get them into some bands. Send them my way.
Oh, I've tried everything, man. I tried Iron Maiden. I tried Priest. I tried Anthrax. I tried like all the big bands or whatever, just to see if there's anything that they like of any of it, and they don't like any of it, and just like fucking nothing. So
this is a look of shock.
It is. It sucks, man. It sucks.
Got kids who don't like metal. I thought, oh yeah, they would have liked like Zeppelin or something, but you know.
Yeah, well, they like the Beatles. I mean, they like music, right? I mean, like
music.
They're big on like the Beatles and some classic rock.
Yeah, that's good.
Rock.
I like some classic rock.
All kinds of shit.
I like some classic rock, but I'm more into the extreme.
Yeah, once it gets heavier, they're not really into it at all. So I mean, whatever. As long as they're into music.
As long as they're into music,
just be into music.
Because I remember watching an interview of yours, and I can't remember who it was with, but you were saying, "Oh yeah, I've been trying to get my kids into this music," and like, Dad, I don't get what it is, and I got my 14-year-old making fun of me with his friends or whatever. It's like, how dare you take the piss out of your dad? He loves extreme music, and he's talking to people that have been to the scene for a long time. Why do you do this? Because it's weird. Oh, I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo then. I love this music. I've been listening to death metal since 2004. Because I got into metal back in 2002, really. Didn't stop listening to it fully until 2003. And then death metal came. Then I got told to listen to Cannibal Corpse by a mate of mine from school. And I was like, oh, I like the guitars and everything. The vocals, that can just go... And then I heard Cannibal Corpse again, and I was like, oh, what's this on? Hammer Smash Face. Dun, dun, dun. Oh. Cool. Right, hooked on Cannibal Corpse now.
Fucking right.
So
back to the radio again.
Yeah. Going off topic here, folks.
My buddy hits me up. It's like, yeah, let's do this radio show. So I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it.
What's it called?
We ended up going down to the station. It was called Chronic Aggression. You supply the chronic, we supply the aggression. That was our tagline.
I like that.
We did that. We started that in 1998, and when we first started doing the show, it was from 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. in the morning. And during that time, I was just having my youngest son, Craven at the time. So I was having my kid. I was working a full-time job. Mornings, so Monday night we would do the show, and at 4 in the morning I'd come home and I wouldn't go to bed because I'd have to work at 7. So I'd just stay up. And then go to work and then come back home and then go to bed after I came home. But we did that for a year, that time slot, and that's what I did for work every Monday. I didn't fucking sleep Monday night I didn't sleep.
This is
so. Yeah, but hey, man, we were just having so much fun, and this is what we wanted to do.
Of course,
so it just didn't
all for the love of the extreme.
For the love of metal, man.
For the love of metal.
We ended up getting a better time slot a year after. It was on the Sundays at 10 p.m. So that worked out perfect. It was 10 p.m. We did a 2-hour show. We ended up switching to a 3-hour show a year after that, just because it was like 2 hours is not enough to fucking play music and talk and hang out and do whatever, right? So we ended up doing a 3-hour show. And that ended up, we did, Chronic Regression lasted from 98 to 2002. So we did 4 years.
Wow, that's pretty
radio. And fucking, it was the fucking amazing time, man. We just had a blast. And then we ended up bringing it back in 2012 for 3 years. Because after I went through some shit, lost my job, lost all kinds of stuff. So I was like,
that's always,
I need a reset on my life.
That's always
so I was like, man, let's bring the radio show back. You know, I got some time on my hands again.
Might as well.
Let's fucking do it.
You might as well.
Did that for 3 years, and in about 2015, I was getting busier with other work and starting to shoot more videos, and starting to shoot some other shit. Working at the local venue, doing stagehand work. So I was getting so busy, and I was like, Dan, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is volunteer, and as much as we love doing this shit, I can't afford the time anymore because it's just my time's becoming valuable.
Yeah.
So we stopped the show then, and and then right after that kind of thing, I was like, started putting on some more concerts because I've always kind of put some concerts on in the background and stuff since fucking 1993 at the Death Fest there.
Yeah.
I've always done that, whether it be punk rock or metal or anything. So I ended up putting a couple shows on, and again, video work started getting crazier. And then I approached a buddy of mine who works at a distribution company, production company,
cool,
here in Toronto, that puts out independent horror, action, all this other stuff. So we became really good friends, and I was like, dude, like, I noticed you're dealing with these documentaries on your, distribution label. They have a Bakken one, they have Thor, they have, there's a couple other fucking music documentaries. I was like, nobody's fucking done a death metal documentary.
Not really.
And he's like, yeah, you're right, actually. I'm like, yeah, so let's fucking do it. He's like,
don't you?
Okay, well then fucking get started.
Let's get some death metal going. So that pretty much started doing. That pretty much got you started doing the Growl, then.
Yeah.
So there you go, folks. That's what started doing the Growl, and once it's out, then we'll share it around. I'll be sharing it around like crazy, because being a death metal fan, and also.
But yeah, I mean we're trying to get some more interviews done, obviously, but I mean, once all the borders and shit got locked down, then
it's just nuts because
we weren't able to go do our traveling to go.
Yeah, I can't really do a lot of traveling at the moment. I was meant to be going to New Zealand in April, but then I had to cancel the flights because of this crap, and then now it's been rescheduled for the end of October. But again, we don't know if everybody's going to open their borders straight away. That's the thing.
Yeah, we don't know.
But as long as you got something to preoccupy yourself, you got all the live stream interviews, because you've had tons and tons of live stream interviews, and I've watched some that have actually gone live and some that went live, and I've been watching them on YouTube. I've been watching the John one again. You know what? John from Incantation, obviously. Everyone should know. If not, check him out. He's just done one with Steve-O from Impetigo, however you say it. And that band's just nuts. Enough of music.
Unbelievable.
If no one knows them, check him out. All the other bands we just mentioned, like Grotesque Infection, check him out. His band Mangled, check him out. Coffin Rot, check him out. Just saying, check him out.
Coffin Rock Canada, because there's a
Coffin Rock Canada, not the American.
Yeah, Coffin Rock.
Oh, you can check out the American.
Yeah.
But it's like with Disgorge, there's an American one and there's a Mexican one.
Yeah.
So it's like, which one do you mean? The one with Angel? Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I've heard really good things about the Mexican one
Angel
as well.
Came in a couple, I think like 2 or 3 years ago. He came into Disgorge.
Yeah, because I actually saw Disgorge on my 22nd birthday in 2013 when they played London.
Oh, sweet.
It was on my birthday, and it was
singing then?
Yeah, he was on vocals. It was.
Oh, okay.
They had internal bleeding with him. Beheaded from Malta. Inflammable Ruination. One man band called Regurgitate Life. I think I'm missing another band.
Yep.
I got my ticket collection somewhere and I can't find it now. Probably find it in a minute. I have all the bands on it. So, yeah, well, before I ask you any more other stuff, I've been getting a lot of people messaging here. My guest last time, Greg Blackburn, who had the filter on his face because I clicked the filter thing by accident and I had it on my speaker thinking, oh, that'd be great, it's too damn dark. He was asking you specifically, which metal albums are one of your top favourites? If you were to pick your top favourites, like B3 or 5. Or just your top favourite.
Metal albums, not death metal albums, just metal albums.
Just said metal albums, but it can be death metal, thrash metal, any. It can be a mixture of any of them. I might actually overload his brain in a minute.
I'm gonna say Creator, Extreme Aggression.
Yes.
I fucking love that album. I love that album.
Yeah, that's a great album, I have to say.
I like. I guess the ones that. I mean, you always go back to the ones that you first heard, pretty much, right? So it was probably Anthrax, Among the Living, huge. I love that fucking thing. That album's so fun.
Nice.
What else here? I'll say Death Angel, The Ultraviolence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, the first album. I fucking love that first. That's great.
It's all the great albums.
Let's see. And then I guess you get into death metal, but Cannibal Corpse, Butchered at Birth. I think that's like one of the bits.
That is a fantastic album. I do like Glenn Benton's guest vocals in it.
Baphomet, The Dead Shall Inherit, and
I got that.
Effigy is Forgotten.
Yep. Also. So there you go, Greg. He's just answered your question.
Yeah. So those are the albums, right? But I mean, as much as I love buying, albums and whatever like that, the underground is what probably molded me more with demos than albums did.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, I'd rather listen to demo stuff than album stuff nowadays. Like I'm getting to that age where I'm a purist now.
Yeah, it's just like I'm going back to where I started. Like I'm gonna go back to where I started. I heard all the demos from all these bands because I listen to I go on Ken's Death Metal Crypt a lot of the time and listen to all demos and EPs on there. So I thought,
yep.
Well, because was all American bands, obviously, because that's where all his favourite bands are from. All of my favourite bands are from. A lot of my favourite bands are from the States. Canada, like one of my favourites is Tomb Mold.
Right.
I love Tomb Mold.
Yeah, they're from Toronto. They're local. We ended up meeting the guitarist Derek. So my buddy Johnny Ibe, he played in Fuck the Facts, a grindcore band from Montreal.
Yes, I've seen them. Seen them live.
Yeah, he
fantastic
for like many years. And he ended up doing a tour with Exhumed.
I've seen them.
Now he's in a band called Bleeding Out. It's like a grindcore band. Again, out of Toronto. So Johnny calls me up and he's like, "Hey, dude, Embalmer is playing in Buffalo. We want to go." And I was like, "Well, actually, I was already going anyways. But if you guys want to come, then just come on down, pick me up, and let's fucking go."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring a couple buds too." I'm like, "The more the merrier. Let's fucking do it." So they come down here, and I get inside, and it turns out it's Dave Christensen, who was in this band called Rammer. They're like a death thrash band from Toronto, and
sounds familiar.
He ended up starting a grindcore band called The Abyss, which was on $20 Spin, also. So $20 Spin.
That's why I got the two Mold albums.
Yeah, so he ended up. So I was like, "Dave, fuck, I haven't seen you in years. What's going on, dude?" And then they're like, "Okay, this is our buddy Derek." I'm like, oh, hey, Derek, how's it going, man? You know, he's kind of a quiet dude. And I'm like, hey, cool. And so then he's like, yeah, he's in Tomb Mold. I'm like, oh, shit, you're the guy in Tomb Mold? No, shit, that's fucking cool, man.
Shit.
So, yeah, we ended up going to see him Embalmer and, what the fuck was it? Embalmer, Scorched, and actually it was Mortis Skull. It was Mortis Skull, Embalmer, Scorched, and that was the show that I met Dave Greger for the first time.
Yeah, Dave Greger.
So that was fucking cool. But yeah, Tomb Mold, man, Tomb Mold.
They are brilliant. I love that band. Well, they played Bristol one year, but for whatever reason I didn't go because I think I had a driving lesson the next day or something, or I didn't have a lot of money. But hopefully, when next year they come back, I'm like, yeah, I'll be at the front. Just buy a copy of Bloodborne, saying, yeah, can you just sign that? Because a lot of their lyrics are based around Dark Souls and Bloodborne for like the first couple of albums, I think. Speaking of that gig I went to on my birthday, the Disgorge one, well, there's the ticket.
Oh, sweet. There it is.
Disgorge, Internal Bleeding, Beheaded, Regurgitate Live from Fable Ruination, and the other band, I think they were called Psychophobia or something. Or Bodiet. I don't know what they were called. I think that was one of the bands I missed.
Right.
Because I tend to miss some bands. I'm like this. Oh, cool. I'll get here. It's like
always.
It's like, yeah, you just missed this band. Now you fucking tell me.
I ended up seeing Disgorge in what was it, 98, 99, I believe. Yeah, they played in Toronto. It was one of the like Unique Leader at the time. They were doing those bloodletting tours. Yep. So it was like, I think it was Disgorge, Cephalic Carnage, Dying Fetus,
yes,
Eternal Bleeding.
Yes,
I think it was.
It's in Dying Fetus.
And yeah, and Maddie Way, the original vocalist,
I was just about to say,
on the She Lay Gutted album. So it was fucking.
I own that album.
Unbelievable, man.
I own that album and the one after that.
That's my favorite album.
Yeah.
Fucking
She Lay Gutted.
Unbelievable.
It's like, whoa. Yeah, because at that show I just showed you, Angel said, it's a guy's birthday today. His name's Jake. Yeah. He gave me a birthday shout out and played, I can't remember what song it was now, but it was my mate Jeff's favourite song. I just went nuts. I got on stage at one point, I think, yeah, during Internal Bleeding and Disgorge, and just stage dived. I'm just like, no, my belly will smack you in the face. Poof, poof, poof.
That's fine. You gotta take the bump and bruises. You gotta fucking do.
Well, last time I stage dived,
the music doesn't stop.
No, so it does not.
Go. It just makes you go.
Well, last time I stage dived, it was during a band called who was it? Bonded by Blood. It was a thrash metal band, and I jumped off, landed on my phone, and the screen cracked, so I couldn't get a lift home. So I had to go to my mate's house, who was in one of the bands supporting him. I think it was Separation supporting him. I had to later, but stayed at their house and just drank a lot of beer and drank some absinthe, which is just some lethal ass shit. You know, it's not literally just. I just had this absinthe. I was just like this, drank it. It's like, okay, I've had too much, and kept passing out and getting a cold beer to wake me up all the time. On my head, just like, ugh. Like, come on.
I think the last time I stage dived was, my God, probably at a punk show in the mid '90s. I think it was during just before the Warped Tours kicked in. A lot of those kind of Southern California bands like No Effects and Pennywise and Strung Out and all those bands. I was huge into that scene at the time. It was unbelievable. So I think it was Strung Out just when their first Another Day in Paradise album came out on Fat Records, and I think there's video footage. I don't know who has it, but there's video footage of me getting up on stage, fucking singing a little chorus, and then jumping off right into the fucking crowd, and
might as well
just floating around and crowd surfing and everything, man. And that was a blast. But I mean, I've always been a big guy, so the problem is I can't stage dive because I'm like 200 plus pounds. I'm gonna fucking land on somebody. I'm gonna hurt somebody. Or they're not gonna catch me.
You're gonna kill someone.
It's gonna hurt even more. Yeah. So I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, I got a mate who's 6'3". I don't know how much he weighs. I don't ask people like, how much do you weigh? This. Well, you're gonna die. Well, we're gonna die. Well, because he would get on stage, and a lot of us are strong enough to lift on mates who may work out or whatever, and we had him. All of us at like the band that I interviewed on my second episode. He got off. We lifted him up, and we were just lifting him around and doing like a circle pit, and we did it with another mate of ours, and just went around a circle pit with him, just carrying up. It's like, okay, this was January this year, and I went to Obscene Extreme Fest in 2017, and there was always this one big guy with a mohawk, always stage diving. It's like, we're not going to be able to lift you. It's like, oh god, no! And I kept getting hit in the face by one guy because this was during Growl set at OEF. And I was like, just kept getting boof and boof, and I was like, fuck this.
Well, that's why you stay. That's why you stay back about 10, 15 feet.
Yeah, and but I thought I just want to get to the front and experience it and get on the stage myself. Not stage dive, just do a stupid dance and get off.
Yeah.
Because Haggis played there. Do you like the band Haggis?
There's too much of the pitched vocals.
Oh, fair enough. It's not. Well, yeah, my mate Nick, who I was mentioning, he got on stage and he's just doing this.
Yeah.
I was like, you see me off to the side, just like, shall I get up? No, I'll just stay here. I did go on stage a few times, but they filmed the bands and used like 1 or 2 songs each from each band, and you see yourself on stage. And then I could see myself at one point headbanging some Pertinence from Finland.
Yeah.
And they're a great band.
Sweet.
They're a great band.
Yeah, no, totally. Their old shit's fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, their first album's nuts. Listen to their new stuff. I know the drummer because I met him last year at Scandinavia Death Fest. And then they played Fin Fest in London, which was all, as you can probably guess, Finnish bands. All Finnish bands. And it was funny, like 2 of them said, we are this band from Finland. We already know this. Why are you saying this? You can say what part of Finland you're from, but don't tell us you're from Finland, because we know this.
Yeah, we already know.
We all know.
That's why you're playing this festival.
That's why you're playing this festival. That's why you're playing this festival. And check out all these different bands, which I don't know if you've heard of any of them. There's one called Galvanizer, 3-piece death grind. Yeah, they're really good. Got a picture of the bassist / vocalist, and I was looking at his bass. It looks more like a guitar. And I said to him, "Oh, I really like your bass." And he said, "Yeah, I made that myself." Cool.
Sweet.
You can find
some different sounds.
Yeah, you can find the video that I filmed of them there on my YouTube channel.
Oh, right on.
Right at the front. And Ripikulu was there. Convulse was there. Pertinence. Demolic. Skepticism. Oh, there was a bunch of bands. Gorephilia. Yeah, Gorephilia. That's it. I'm trying to remember all these band names.
God damn.
So, if you want a good time,
you get to see all the European bands all the time. We don't get to see all the Europeans.
European bands, go to Canada.
Yeah, literally.
Because
I mean, they end up getting played on Maryland Death Fest or Quebec Death Fest and all that kind of stuff, right? So we get a band or 2 here and there, but it's not it's kind of far and few between, unfortunately, especially nowadays.
Especially
in the last few years, it's just been getting tougher to come over and fucking
get
a band. It's costing you a fortune. And it's not really worth it sometimes, man, because, I mean, some of these bands, they want to come over, but the fan base isn't as big as it is over there, so when they come here, it's just like, you're going to get a couple diehards of fucking, 50, 60, 70 people maybe.
Yeah, you get them here in Bristol.
Is that enough to keep you going for the tour, though?
Yeah, you get...
pay for your visas and you pay for your merch and all that kind of shit?
That's the thing. Tough, man. Yeah, because in London, that's where, like, all the underground bands, like, like Two Mold, Fed It, Cerebral Rot, they would play like in London a lot because you get a lot of those fans in London who are into that darker side of that music, like the darkest, nastier sound like Undergang from Denmark. who I've seen twice now, and because they played the Griffin here in Bristol. This small room upstairs in this metal pub, which is the best metal pub. It's been voted that, but it was already that to begin with. So there you go.
Nice.
And they played there, and it was like, woof. So we got 4 Danish. No, wait, no, there was another Danish band with them, and I can't remember the bloody name now. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. So, well, I'm going to go back to Mangled a bit, because I know you supported Grotesque Infection. Is there any other bands you supported back in the day?
Oh my god, the whole scene here was
Like, did you get any bands from like New York, Florida,
well,
come up?
New Jersey there was a lot of bands like Human Remains, Demonacy from New Jersey. What else was there? Ritual Torment. There's another one. They fucking ruled. Because there was this one show in Niagara Falls, New York. It was so it was Inner Sanctum. They're a Rochester female death metal band.
Oh, yeah.
Lethargy, which was 2 members from Mastodon, their original band.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
Obscurity.
They were a local Buffalo band also, which were actually be putting out their demos with a split CD with this other Buffalo band, Eternal Torment.
Nice.
So those 2 bands there. Yeah, Demonacy, Infestation was another one where Joe, the singer, started a band called STEM, STEMM. It was like kind of the new metal band in the 90s or whatever. They actually blew up pretty good. But yeah, it was Infestation, Human Remains, Demonacy, Grotesque. And that fucking show like pretty much solidified those bands as like the cool, kind of not the cool bands, but the bands in that area that were really fucking going hard at that time. So obviously I made friends with everybody there because I was like, holy fuck, your band rules. Holy shit, your band rules. Holy shit, your band rules. And,
yeah, that's what I'm the same way. I'm just like, your band, oh, that was an awesome set. That was an awesome set. That's an awesome set. Can I buy that CD? Can I buy that CD? Oh, can I have a CD and a t-shirt? Oh, can I have a CD, t-shirt and a patch?
Yeah.
Because I do that.
Yeah.
I do that.
Oh, you do it all. Well, yeah. As soon as you, I mean, you fucking. As soon as you like the band,
as soon as you like band,
pretty much that's what you have to do. You just go up to the
buy their merch.
And be like, all right, what do you got?
Buy their merch. You support the band. You support by buying their merch and we'll go into their shows anyway. So that Niagara Falls Death Fest show, was it in Niagara Falls? Was it near like the falls?
No, it was right. It's well, like Niagara Falls. There's.
How big is Niagara Falls in the Canadian part?
There are.
So I don't know how big the American one is.
I think 78,000 people in Niagara Falls.
Blinking now.
So it's not huge, right? It's a city, but I mean it's not gigantic. St. Catharines, where I'm living right now, which is only 10 minutes from the falls, there's 130,000 people that live here, so it's a little bit bigger, but not really. And then Hamilton goes to 500,000 people, and then Toronto is obviously like 1 million, fucking 2 million people there or whatever. But the Niagara Falls Death Fest was put on right beside a strip club, the famous strip club here in the falls called the Sundowner, that everybody knows about, even like people from the States, everything like that. So Uncle Sam's was the venue that we had it at, and it was owned by the guys who ran the strip joint. So this venue here was an iconic rock venue for probably 15 years. Like everybody played there from the late 70s up until it closed in 95. And like everybody was there, man. Like they had Voivod Sacrifice, fucking Rush, Triumph played there, fucking like everybody, man. All the big Canadian acts, metal, everything like that. Everybody played there at one point. So
that's cool.
93, I put the show on, and it was pretty much a matter of I had to, try to track down everybody's phone numbers, because I mean there's no internet, so it took quite a while actually. So all the bands that I liked, from the guys in Grotesque Infection and what else? Yeah, from Grotesque Infection, they kind of helped me out with giving some numbers to Demonacy and like those kind of bands. And I knew a lot of the Canadian bands that I brought in too, like Inbred, they're from Oshawa. Nailed, again, they're from Oshawa. Massification, they were from Ingersoll, which is probably, I don't know, maybe an hour or so from here. Gastric Pus, they were from Toronto. So it took a few months to try to put the show together, just to, try to get the letters. Hey, how you doing, man? I was wondering if you, be interested in maybe, coming down to a show I'm putting on. Send me your number so that, we can at least chat, because, sending letters is going to fucking take forever. So end up calling everybody, hey man, we just want gas, and, whatever else is, if there's on top of that, that's cool. If not, whatever, we'd just be down to playing a show. So obviously our band Mangled, we opened up just because that was our, we wanted to fucking play with all these bands. So
might as well. You're putting it on, so just put the band on.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So Pus.
And everybody that came, like Grotesque and Demonacy, the guys from Buffalo and all that shit, that whole crew that came over, they all ended up hanging out at the Sundowner and going to the strip club like crazy. 'Cause, I mean, I was 17 at the time, and a lot of those guys, they were like 4 or 5, 6 years older, so they all went to the frickin' strip
so in their 20s, basically.
The whole time.
Just get whoa. Oh, before the show, let's go to the strip club. All right.
They totally did, man. Because, I mean, you only had to be 19 here, so they would bring their buds over. Because, I mean, obviously some 19-year-olds that came over, because then everybody could go. I mean, Buffalo in the States, you have to be 21 to drink.
Obviously.
Here, you got to be 19. So they fucking took advantage of that.
Well, that's different.
Going over,
that's different.
The strip club while the fucking Death Fest was going on.
That's different. All right, cool. We played our set. We're going to the strip club. All right. If it was me, I'd be like, nah, I'm just going to watch the bands. I just watch the bands. Just watch the bands.
But yeah, that was the first death metal show in Niagara Falls, like, ever. I mean, I wanted to bring these bands because nobody has heard of this shit before.
No.
So I fucking I did my due diligence, and I put flyers around the whole city and a couple local record shops and everything.
Nice.
And the turnout was actually not too bad. I ended up getting to pay everybody what they wanted, and it fucking worked out perfect.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you how it went.
I didn't even have any money going into the show, because, I mean, that's my first show. I was like, I don't know how the fuck this thing, how I run this shit, but I got, 9 bands on this.
It must have gone well that day, because you got a good turnout. You got a lot of these people coming in, and
I paid everybody's gas, that's what they wanted. And Demonacy, they were the farthest because they were from New Jersey. I ended up paying them $150 American, and that covered their gas and everything. And it worked out perfect, man. Everybody had a good time.
Well, that's good then.
I think I have half of the show on VHS. There's the one clip of Grotesque on YouTube or whatever like that. But I have myself, Gastric, Grotesque, and Nailed, I believe, on VHS still. So I still have some of the old school shit from that show. It's hilarious. Then that venue, unfortunately, turned into a strip club right after it closed down. So it was like strip clubs right beside each other. Yeah.
So it went from having all these underground death and grind bands to a bloody strip club. That's what happens.
Pretty much.
That's what happens, people.
But it was the best venue that we had, though. It was set up for rock shows and everything like that. So we made sure to take advantage of this place before it closed down. So myself, I was in some punk bands too and everything. So we put on some punk shows, put on the metal show, and then pretty much right after that they closed it down. And I was like, oh shit, there's nothing left around here.
Damn.
And we ended up starting to play shows in St. Catharines, because there was a little better of a scene here, and then I started doing more punk rock stuff. I was in a punk rock band and doing the Coffin Rod on the side, but we weren't playing any shows, or just jamming or whatever. But yeah, man, it was. I mean, it's just like anywhere. Venues are just hard to stay open because I mean, fuck.
Well, a lot of venues are struggling now because of this pandemic, and well, that's why a lot of those venues are there, because. And when they make an income is when bands play there without without any bands happening at the moment, any gigs happening at the moment, all these venues are pretty much at risk of closing. You know, sucks. It's probably the same over in America and Canada, and we're like getting out from what's going on at the moment. I just mean within the metal scene. Forget what's going on at the moment. Forget all the other bull crap. Not having any gigs going on. I miss going to gigs. I miss seeing people. I miss going to a gig and headbanging and just being like, oh, I'm too hot. I'm too knackered. I gotta get a beer or something, you know. But you know, it sucks. It sucks at the moment.
Yeah.
Really sucks. And also,
it blows.
Yeah.
It blows.
Yeah, it just sucks at the moment. And I was looking at I found some. I think I found it on your Facebook actually. It was an old VHS tape of Mangled in a rehearsal.
Yeah.
And I spotted you out straight away. You had long hair then.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
not the mustache.
That was just before. Yeah. That was just before we switched name to Mangled. That was during the Devouring Putrid Afterbirth sessions, and a couple of those songs were on the Mangled demo. Yeah. They're just kind of revisions. We fixed them up, slowed it down, or whatever like that. But yeah, there's a couple tunes that are on there, and I have that whole basement jam session. It's probably like 45 minutes of fucking us just playing in the basement at my bass player's house.
Yeah.
Thank God his parents didn't give it. Parents didn't give a shit about us playing this crazy music in their basement back in 91, 92, man.
That's fine.
It was just loud.
That's all good. No, that's good.
Loud and obnoxious.
That's good. How old were you in that footage? You looked about 18 or 19.
So if that was like late 91, 92, I would be.
I think that was 92. That footage.
So I would have been 18.
18. Well.
Totally.
I was born in 91, so 92 I was very, very young. So I didn't know any of this till I got a little bit older and found out about all these bands, and now found out about this documentary you're doing as well, and your band and all the other bands you've talked about, and yeah, I learned a lot from a lot of the older folks. And I don't mean old as in you're old. I mean, you got more knowledge in this scene than I do. You know, you got more knowledge.
Right. Yeah, I know a couple extra bands, I guess.
Because everyone just says to me, it's like, oh, wow, Jake, you know so much about death metal. Well, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more people that know more about the death metal scene than I do. So, and I'm talking to one right now.
And then I'm that guy, too, that, like, when I'm interviewing, you know, like John McEntee and Steve-O and all these guys, I'm sitting there listening to, you know, these guys who know, you know, even more.
Who know even more than you do.
Too, right?
So
yeah, exactly.
So it's like I'll know more someone and someone like, oh, I know some stuff, and I'm like, I'll go to Jake. I'm like, oh yeah, I know my things, but go to Cam, and you'll be like, no, go to John and Cam Lee and all that. Go to them. They'll know a lot more. Yeah. So is like that circle. Is like you got John, and then there's you, and then people like me, and then other people who are going to get into this scene. Because I'm always trying to tell people about different death metal bands and everything, so it's like...
Well, that's just it, man. It's just it's a new generation of people that, you know, are interested in you know, just trying to spread the good word. So, I mean, whether you're a newbie or an old school at it, I mean, you know, what you're doing is exactly what we need, man. It's just like having your own fanzine, having your own radio show, or anything like that, man. As long as you want to fucking help try to pump some other bands or record labels or artists or whatever, man, like, you know, we all have a little part in all of this somehow, because this fucking crazy scene, we need the brotherhood and sisterhood to keep this shit going and keep the stories going and all that kind of shit too, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's why every time I went to a gig, I always filmed the bands, and then people can look at me like, oh, who's this band? Because I got all sorts of different bands on there, from Separation to Body Harvest to there's a Bristol brutal death metal band I'm not going anymore called Necrosis, which is what Cryptopsy used to be called.
Right.
Yeah, and then
exactly.
Yeah, and because they played a bunch of gigs here in Bristol, in London, and everywhere in the UK. I think everywhere in the UK. Because my mate Jason is now in the Norwegian slam band Cranium. And he's been with them for quite a while now. Yeah.
Craig's label CDN, they just re-released the Cranium.
Yeah, I bought Slamcology. I bought that album with Grotesque Infection. That's the 2 CDs I bought at the moment. I thought, I'll buy these. You're welcome. I thought, my mate's band's on.
Sweet.
My mate's band's on there because I'm mates with the guitarist from the Cranium because his twin brother was the vocalist and sadly he passed away 3 years ago.
Right.
Which sucks.
That's right.
He's in our Metal Hearts and he's always with members because even if you can't see these members who used to be in these bands anymore, there's footage of them out there and they live on through people's experiences and that, of course, which is great. More people are tuning in. And how many viewers? 6 viewers. Okay, that's cool. 6 viewers?
Yeah, whatever, man.
It was 15 earlier when we started. It was like 15. It's like, who's Jake talking to now? I don't know. Let's leave. No, stay.
That's what happens.
Stay.
Who's this fucking weirdo with the mustache?
Who's this weirdo with the mustache and sideburns? He's a cool guy. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. I don't know him that well. But I'm getting to know him just by this chat. And also, you're a big horror fan as well, because you're a big horror fan. You love horror movies, and what would you say your favourite horror movie is? If you were to pick.
That is so fucking tough. That's impossible.
That's what people ask me. What's your favourite horror film? It was like, or favourite film. I'm just like, I don't know. But
I have favorite films. I don't have I don't know if I have a favorite film. I just have favorite films, man.
Yeah, I'm like that.
I mean, again, it goes back to what you watched for the first time on TV back in the late 70s, early 80s on some late night channel shows.
Maybe late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah. So I mean, there's this one called The Sender. It came out in '82, and it's a weird psychological, like telekinetic style horror film. And I don't know, it's just weird. I remember it to this day, and it just imprinted in my head just some of the scenes in the movie. So I actually ended up tracking it down on VHS like over 20 years ago now. And I revisited it again, and I was like, holy shit, man, this movie is still fucking deadly. So The Sender was one of them. Horror Hospital. That's a UK movie from 70, I think 74 or 75.
I don't think I know that one.
It's not the best movie, but again,
I'll watch a horror movie even if it's really good or not. Or if it's just cheesy as hell, I'll watch it anyway because I don't mind. Because I don't mind. I'll just be like, oh wow, what's this film? Like what was it? Burial Ground.
Love it.
Yeah, I just watched it. I was like, I shouldn't love it as much as I do. It's so bad, but I still love it because it's so poorly acted in some places. But the effects are pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, totally is. But nowadays, though, I mean, over the last 30 years, I mean, obviously my tastes have changed, and I just got into different shit too, and ever since getting into Mortician and Impetigo and all that stuff, they were kind of the ones that introduced me to the underground horror movies, which Steve-O we were talking about last night.
Yeah, you guys talking about a lot of things.
It turned into a lot of the European trashy stuff, like Cannibal Holocaust and
I got that.
Absurd. And
I got that.
Cannibal Apocalypse. Make Them Die Slowly.
No, I don't have that. I've seen it.
And Dario Argento.
I've got a bunch of that stuff.
Kind of stuff.
I got a bunch of stuff in there.
I love Zombie. Like that's probably one of my favorite.
I love that.
Movies
I love that film. I love
Zombie.
I love that film.
That fucking movie. I can watch it like every day. I can watch it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that film. It's one of my favorites.
Gates of Hell, again, another fucking beautiful movie.
Gates of Hell.
I love that one.
Yep.
Dawn of the Dead.
Yep.
Zombie Creeping Flesh is another big one.
Yeah, I got that somewhere.
Contamination.
Yep.
Luigi Cozzi's. I love that one too. But the European movies, man, they really impacted me, especially during like the early '90s or whatever. Because I mean, that's when I was getting into all the you know the crazy the underground and everything like that. So the horror movies themselves. I mean, I was a big horror fan, but I didn't know exactly as much as I know, obviously I did later, but I started finding out about all this crazy shit, and the Italians just seemed to strike a chord with me more than a lot of the North American films or the the UK films and stuff like that, just because of the soundtracks.
Yeah.
There's something about those fucking soundtracks.
Yeah,
like Goblin and
I was just about to mention Goblin because they're on a lot of Italian horror films soundtracks. Like a lot of Dario Argento films that you hear Goblin or
love it.
Like,
love it.
Because
love fucking Dario Argento.
Yeah, one of my favourite films of his is Suspiria. I love that film.
Yeah. Oh my god,
It's
man.
dark.
And to see Goblin play this shit live, it's life.
I think they played the UK one year, but I completely missed it. I completely missed it because they played the UK and I completely missed it. I think it was in London and I couldn't go.
Claudio Simonetti, I mean, like the main keyboardist in the band, he's been touring his own version of Goblin for many years now. So I'm surprised like you haven't seen it, because I mean, I've seen the tours, man. They've come through the UK a couple times.
But I just couldn't go to any of them for some reason. I might have been at college at the time and couldn't get, and I had to do a lot of college work.
I literally haven't missed a Goblin concert since they've come back in. When was that? Probably like 7-8 years ago is when they first. They came to North America for the first time ever at my buddy's horror convention out in London, Ontario, which is about 2 hours from here. He brought Goblin, or Claudio, and the other keyboardist Maurizio, who came on Goblin later in the late 70s. He lived in Toronto. So the two of them, they started jamming together and grabbed a couple of extra guest musicians from Toronto also. But Claudio and Maurizio, for the first time playing together since the 70s, my buddies brought them to London, Ontario, to the horror convention Shockstock. And honestly, that was probably one of the greatest fucking live moments I think I've ever been involved with in my life, ever in my life, man.
Nice.
It was fucking unbelievable, because like I said, man, Goblin are probably, I would put them up there as literally one of my favorite bands, like, period, whether it be death metal or hip hop or fucking like punk or anything, man. Like, Goblin is literally one of the top favorite bands ever. So to see this shit playing live, they played Tenebrae, Phenomena, Suspiria, Deep Red, and like, holy god fucking
I love those films.
Ever since then, I've never missed either Claudio or Maurizio's version of Goblin, because there's two versions of Goblin.
Yeah.
Claudio Simonetti's Goblin, and then there's just Goblin, which is the original. Massimo Morante on guitar, Fabio Pignatelli, Maurizio Guarini, and the drummer. But anyways, so they had their own version of Goblin that they tour on, and they play Goblin music that Claudio's version don't play, because Claudio is all like he's the Suspiria, he's the Deep Red, he's the Tenebrae guy, like that's his version of Goblin. And then Maurizio, when he came in the late 70s, it was Contamination, Beyond Darkness, and a lot of those like late 70s, early 80s Goblin films. So Dawn of the Dead too. Again, there's another one, and that version would play the weird Goblin shit of that era instead of playing the Simonetti era stuff. And like I'm huge. Like I said, Contamination, the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack, pretty much.
That's an amazing soundtrack.
Was one of the greatest things ever. So to see that with, like I said, Contamination, Beyond Darkness. And like unfucking believable, man. I get goosebumps every time I fucking talk about it.
Yeah, that's always great. That's great. That's pretty. Gorgeous. Yeah, I like that with John Carpenter's films, because not only does he direct, but he also writes his own themes for his own films, which is like, I might as well just do everything. It's like, you know what? It's paid off because everyone talks about him. And he played Bristol one year, but I was already had plans. I was like, I'm missing John Carpenter because I'm going to see my girlfriend's parents or something. But hopefully, when this is all over and he comes back and they're like, you haven't seen John Carpenter, so whatever plans I got. It's like, but dude, we're going to this place, but I want to see John Carpenter. But I've heard his music; it's brilliant.
And I was busy that day myself, so I couldn't go see John Carpenter. He ended up going to see it because he toured. It was like 3 years ago or whatever. He did the tour, and I didn't get a chance. Unfortunately, I ended up seeing Goblin. Goblin instead. So I kind of picked. I was like Goblin or John Carpenter. I was like, I kind of like Goblin a little bit. I mean, as much as I love John Carpenter and his era of analog synth. Soundtracks and everything like that. I managed to learn Assault on Precinct 13, like the beginning bit. You know, the beginning bit is that. Yeah.
I was playing it, and the guy who was working in the music shop, because it was a music shop, and then it changed to a Costa Coffee cafe, and he said, "Is that Assault on Precinct 13?" Yeah. Oh, did you see him when he played the Hippodrome? Hippodrome is the big theatre here in Bristol. I was like, oh no, I didn't. It's like, oh, that was amazing. He played that. It's like, don't rub it in.
Yeah.
Don't.
Exactly.
It's like someone saying, oh, did you see Devon Townsend last year in Cardiff? Yeah. Don't rub it in. Why? I'm going to. Because Devon Townsend's an amazing musician.
That's what I told everybody last night when we were watching the fucking Impetigo footage.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear this.
I don't want to hear that you fucking played that show.
I don't want to hear it.
Up front stage.
I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear you in the pit and you got knocked out for 5 minutes.
No, I'm good.
It's like, don't tell me this. Because if you tell me this, I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to chat to you now. Why? Because you keep bragging about you sing that. Like, but please talk to me now. Talk to me now. That's what I'm like. No, talk to the hand.
I don't want to hear it.
Don't want to hear it.
So next time fucking Goblin come around, you have to go see
Yeah, I'm gonna see Goblin because I got a mate named Jim who's all into this stuff as well. As well as liking death metal and thrash and doom and sludge and whatever the frickin' else he likes to listen to. He likes a lot of the movie stuff, and he's seen John Carpenter twice, and he got a picture of him twice, and I was like,
right.
I'm gonna throttle him with his own hair. If he's watching, it's like, nah, mate.
Like, I'm a huge soundtrack guy, man, and just to see this shit live. It changes you, man. It literally does, because I mean, you can just see the parts of the movie when they're playing their, the theme songs, right? And especially it was unbelievable too when Fabio Frizzi, who did the soundtracks for Zombie, Gates of Hell, The Beyond, a lot of Fulci's movies. He ended up doing a tour here after, I think it was the third time Goblin came around. It was like a sold out show. Everybody loved Goblin all of a sudden, right? So whatever.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of ours booked the Fabio Frizzi show at the same venue, and unfortunately there was maybe like 40 people at this show, right? So everybody that claims was like, oh yeah, I love Goblin, I love Italian horror movies and shit, but all of a sudden Fabio Frizzi, the guy who did just as many iconic soundtracks for Italian horror movies, he's coming to fucking town to play the Beyond, Gates of Hell, Zombie, all that kind of stuff. I was like, holy shit! I bought tickets like the second they announced it. I'm like, dude, I'm going. Boom! I got 3 tickets. Who's coming? So we ended up going, and literally there was like 40 people there. I have some footage up on Facebook or whatever. I can send you a link or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't shoot much because I was just so into fucking watching this that it just blew my mind.
Yeah, I'm like that.
We literally just sat in the front, myself and my Rabidog partner Phil. We sat at the front literally and just we were just like, holy shit, man. There's no way this is ever going to happen again. Like, you're showing the clips from the Beyond, Gates of Hell, Zombie in the background while you're playing all this music. And I'm seriously, man, like him and I, we just kept looking at each other. Like, we didn't even say anything. We're just like, holy fuck, man. Holy shit. So the whole time, yeah, we just sat there and we were just in awe. And what was super rare about this show too was, again, Maurizio, who's doing the Goblin stuff, lives in Toronto. So Maurizio helped Fabio Frizzi on some of the soundtracks for Zombie, Gates of Hell, and all that stuff. And they have never played live together or actually jammed together, really, since the late 70s, early 80s. So Fabio got a hold of Maurizio and was like, dude, I'm coming. Here's some songs, relearn them or whatever. You're coming on stage and we're playing them together. So literally for the first time in fucking 40 years, those two play fucking the Beyond and Gates of Hell and Zombie together, and it's never happened ever again, and it will never happen again.
No, well, if they're playing music from those films, then yeah, you may never hear it again. They'll play something else, and I would have been like this.
Fabio was supposed to come again just at the end of the summer last year, but unfortunately, I guess one of his band members or something like that had some issues trying to get over the border, so they had to fucking cancel all the shows. And again, we had
always the thing
to go see that because it was Freezy. Yeah, he was doing the tour, the Freezy to Fulci tour. So he was obviously doing all Fulci films, and
I love Fulci films.
He just put out too through Cadaver Records. So he was promoting that. So they were, so he was starting to tour. They toured the States and everything like that because they seen everybody else fucking going and see these shows, and they couldn't get over to Canada. So I fucking
that's always the thing. It's always the thing. It's like
time, man.
I'm looking at the Devin Townsend set list I got from him because I did the meet and greet. Me and my mate did it. He was playing in Cardiff, which is just over the bridge here, and got there, and we were like, you and me should get a picture of him together. Never did though. It was like, oh shit, we didn't get the picture together. Oh yeah. And then we got my mate Chris filmed him with holding my phone up because I had a picture of my mate had a tattoo done of his logo, the Devin Townsend project, and there's a video on my mate's Facebook, and it's Devin Townsend going, "Is this you? You got a tattoo?" And it's our mate Shaw. She's a big Devin Townsend fan. He was just.
I was never a big Devin guy.
Yeah,
he never struck my chords.
Yeah, so he was just holding up my phone because I had to get the picture off, so then we can do on my phone, so then we can do the video. And there's me at the end of it going like this. Because it's like, well, we did meet and greet. Because I got the lanyard as well. But yeah, if Devin Townsend's not your thing, then it's not your thing. I'm not gonna judge anyone for not liking Devin.
Obviously, we grew up with Strapping Young Lad and all that kind of stuff too, right? So it was always there, but it just never
struck the chord. I understand that.
I don't know, man. That was 20 years ago that it was all coming out, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna listen to Regurgitating Deeds of Flesh. I'm good.
Yeah, why not? Might as well. If that's what you like, that's what you like. It's no point. It's no point trying to force some. Like if I was forcing, again, I'm going to mention Devin Townsend. If I was forcing that on someone who doesn't really like that stuff, who knows? They may actually like. Oh, I like Devin Townsend now. Cool. Go see his shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if I see, trying to think, Solifus from Finland, because they played Finfest as well, obviously. It's like, oh, do you like death metal? Yes. Do you like doom metal? Yes. Do you like the two put together? Yes. Well, listen to this band then. Okay, why? For the reasons I just said.
What was that?
For the reason I just said.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the difference though between them and us. Like,
yeah, you were more fast.
Like between you and I or whatever, we're gonna give each other suggestions, and we're totally gonna look at it because I mean, I like your taste in music, you like my taste in music, and so we get it. But when you tell just an average listener that oh, I like Cannibal Corpse, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, you should check out this band and this band. It's like, and then they're just looking at you like you're in fucking headlights. It's like,
yeah,
like there's more bands. there's more bands out there than just, you know, Cannibal and Obituary.
Yeah, there's more. That's why a lot.
Bands.
That's why a lot of these underground bands like Your Band and Grotesque Infection, Nailed. What's another underground death metal band? Rotrevor and well, Deeds of Flesh got big bit later in the late 90s and all that. Cyanide, they all would have gotten overlooked and just pushed away.
Yep.
Because you had Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, Suffocation, Morbid Angel, Death, Massacre, which are all great bands. I love those bands, but also you need to look at all the underground bands, obviously, like the bands I just mentioned. Because I heard Cyanide, The Dying Truth, and it's absolutely brilliant.
But don't you want to listen to different stuff though? That's the thing that I've always.
That's what bugs me as well when I try to chat to people. Do you want to listen to something different? It's like, no, I'll just listen to this.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
What?
And that's the thing. I like there's all kinds of friends and stuff like that that are in the music scenes and just, you know, going to bars or whatever like that. And they're always, you know, oh, I love music. I'm like, well, you know, what have you been listening to lately? Oh, you know, some of the new mainstream stuff and all this kind of shit. I'm like, well, if you like fucking, you know, what's that? Greta Van Fleet, right? So there's a good example, right? Everybody likes this Greta Van Fleet because they're like, you know, they're new Led Zeppelin. I get it. They're good.
There's only one Led Zeppelin, and that's Led Zeppelin.
They're bringing this old school sound back, and it's kind of mainstream, but it's accessible and whatever like that. But what about, you know, if you like that style of rock and stoner rock and stuff like that, so then you gotta check out this band and check out this band and check out this band, and you're fucking clueless. But they just think it's like, oh, Greta Van Fleet's enough.
Yeah, I get a bit.
Like, but you're not into music then. If you're telling me you're into music, then go digging for more.
You're saying you listen to these sorts of bands, and yet you don't. If I say, oh yeah, you say you listen to Cannibal Corpse and that, but yet you don't know who Deeds of Flesh or Cyanide or Rotrevor or Mystic or Decada is. You know?
Right, hold on a sec. What was that? Well, I'll just have whatever you guys are smashing. Whatever. That's good. I'm into that. Alright, woman's just gonna order some pizza.
Fair enough.
She just got home from work.
Fair enough. Yeah, get some pizza on. Yeah, like I was saying, you listen to Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Obituary, Morbid Angel, all the big death metal bands. Yeah, you won't. Yep. People be like, then you tell them about Rotrevor, Cyanide, Morgue, bands like that, and like, who the hell are those guys? These were death metal bands that came out around the same time, but they got completely overlooked.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's like,
that's the thing.
Who?
I mean, it's people say that they're into music and and they're always looking for new bands and stuff like that, but they're actually not. They're just lazy, and they just want the bands thrown at them. They don't want to have to do the digging, go through the fucking record stores, go through the crates, go through band camps and YouTubes and all that kind of shit, and sit there for hours on end and just keep looking up new fucking bands. Because if you're into music, you want to keep finding more music.
Because I got mates who obviously they listen to metal, and I got mates who listen to stuff that I don't listen to. Like, I got some mates are like, oh yeah, I love they say, oh yeah, I really love Slayer, and then say, but I also love Taylor Swift. Okay. If that's what you like, I'm not going to judge you on it. I don't like Taylor Swift's music that much. Might be a couple of songs that are a bit catchy, but apart from that, no. I listen to death metal, thrash metal, doom, lots of Devin Townsend, lots of Meshuggah, lots of Gojira, lots of when I feel in the mood, I'll be listening to a lot of Sabbath, Zeppelin, Maiden, Priest. Checked out Lucifer because Central Media were doing a live stream called Isolation Festival, and Lucifer was on there, and I was looking, it's like, is that Nick from Entombed? And I looked, it is Nick from Entombed. This is different. He's doing more just traditional drumming because in Tomb he's going like he's going like that, and then
no, totally.
It's like, wow, he's a drummer of many talents. Because I mainly just play death metal and working on a funeral doom project, and obviously the gore grind band, a folk metal band that we're sorting out EP for, and a folk project because I'm waiting for a frame drum to show up. There's a big drum built like a frame, and get a beater and just smack the hell out of it. Not too much, otherwise it's just gonna break.
Sweet.
But yeah.
We're working on a little project too ourselves. We got a little band.
Ooh, what's this then?
Harsh Tokes. And it's pretty much like, I guess you would say it's early '90s anal cunt style stuff.
Blinking out. There's a band, people. There's going to be people on here who watch this who know who that band is.
Harsh, yeah. So be sure to check out Harsh Tokes. That's we got a little Facebook page going, just sitting in the background for now. And we recorded, we jammed and recorded 14 songs in a matter of an hour and a half. So we are pretty much, the drummer sent over some better played tracks of drums. So we're going to start kind of playing some shit over top. Because we were supposed to play a show May 2nd for our first show or whatever like that, and unfortunately all this shit,
this happened,
and I just kind of got discouraged. I fucking haven't touched my bass since and all this, and I'm like, I don't know whatever, I don't know what's going on, but
cool.
So a drummer all of a sudden just out of nowhere messages us and be like, here, I just recorded all the drums, 14 tracks of the drums, so if you guys want to start playing with some stuff, then I'll take it back and I'll mix and master it, and let's see if it works and see if we can put the notes. So we're going to start working on that in the next couple of weeks.
That'd be great. I'll have a listen to it, because see, like he's mixing and mastering it. Well, Leon, the guitarist in my stoner doom death metal band, Herbicidal, we released our album back in April. And that was all pretty much a DIY thing, because we didn't go in an actual studio. We did it at the rehearsal studio we always rehearsed at, called RS.
Right.
So they did all the instruments in like 5 hours, something like that, one day. I was in Sweden for Scandinavia Death Fest, and then I came back, and me and Leon did the vocals in 2 separate days. Just did it all.
Sweet.
Just did it all. It's on Bandcamp. We've got Bandcamp, Facebook. We've got DistroKid, so you can find all stuff. Yeah, I'll send you. Actually, I'll send you the YouTube playlist. We've got a playlist on YouTube.
Okay.
Or I'll send you the Bandcamp. I'll send you the Bandcamp as well, because you can buy the album.
I want to do more band stuff, but man, it's so much time, and unfortunately, I don't want to say that there's no payoff, but
no.
I mean, I have to worry about living.
Yeah.
And supporting
a lot of
family and all this kind of stuff. So I kind of have to put stuff that's going to make me money in the front, and then everything else in the background or whatever. So unfortunately, the band stuff. Playing live, man, it's just a feeling that you just don't get anywhere else.
No.
And it's the same thing when when I was skateboarding every day back in the 80s and in the 90s. That it's almost like playing live when you land that fucking killer trick in front of. Whoa, you got Skull Skates pants?
What?
Those are fucking pretty sweet. Oh, the woman's just showing me some. Oh, they're baggy. Oh, they're comfy though. Sorry, we're just doing a live stream interview right now. That's okay though.
So it's all good, and your phone just dropped again. Your phone just dropped again. Looking at some shorts. It's like shorts looking. Phone falls over. Boom.
That's it. What the hell were we talking about?
We're talking about bands and jobs and living and.
Oh right, yeah. So a lot of the band stuff, that's last on the list, unfortunately. But I mean, I wanna play live, man. I just love that. I love that live feeling. Like got a couple people, 20, 30 people sitting in front of you. You you play a song, everybody cheers for you afterwards, or like I said, like playing going skateboarding, landing a fucking sweet ass handrail in front of all your buds, and everyone's just fucking screaming and throwing their hands in the air. Like it's just a rush, man. So it's just I like that feeling, and I miss that. So I almost want to I want to do that again, and like, hopefully it's Harsh Tokes. This little grind power violence project that we got, it's gonna make.
I do like the power violence.
Fun again, I think. So
I do like that stuff. I got a mate here actually named Tom. He's really, really into power violence. Really into power violence, and one of his favourite bands is Infest, who I got to see at Obscene Extreme 2017. They were absolutely brilliant, and my mate's jealous because I got to see him. I was like, well, if you came with us, you would have saw them yourself. They were.
No, it's man.
Well, if they ever play again, I'll bring them along. Definitely.
Oh,
I'll bring them along.
It's so intense.
Yeah, when I heard Infest the first time, I was just like, "What the hell am I listening to? This is fast. It's aggressive." And am I ever going to see these guys live? Oh, they don't venture out in the States. They just go to these other places. Okay. And they're playing Obscene Extreme because my mate's band, Black Skies Burn, is a grindcore band, Oxford/Reading or more Reading. Or more Oxford, well, Didcot. They played the festival, and I went up in the van with two of the members, and one of my mates was driving, and then he had to have a rest because he was feeling tired, and then we had another mate take over. So it was like 9 of us in this van. One of us went into camping, which was our female friend Freya, and then most of us we all stayed at our house. We all stayed at our house, but we had some beer in a fridge. We was like, "What's a fridge? Just put a beer in it."
That's all. That's all you need. You're good to go.
So we're all good to go, and no, it was a nice house, by the way. It was in a. I'm trying. I think again. I keep thinking I'm saying is in the Czech Republic. That's where the festival's held, and it's all like way up in like some mountainous area and trees and stuff. It's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful scenery, nice food, some friendly people. A lot of them are a bit crazy, but if they're there for the music, it's fine. They're not causing you any trouble.
That's it. That's all it's about.
There's a lot of crusties, a lot of crust punks,
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of them
Nothing
there.
wrong with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of them there. So if you go there, you won't be totally surprised. There's a lot of
intense music too, so that's fine.
Yeah, I love a lot of crust punk bands as well, like Amoebics, Disorder, who's a Bristol crust punk band, Deviated Instinct, who I got to see with Coffins last year. Yep. Coffins also, I got one of their CDs on $20 spin as well.
Yep.
So on there. I got to see him. Yeah, I got to see him. I was like, never thought I'd get to see him live because my mate was meant to go, but then he was going to go see the football, so he sold me his ticket to me, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see Coffins, but I need somewhere to stay. And then my mate went and said, oh, I'll come to the gig. You can just stay at mine. Sweet. I'll stay with you. And he had like cans of Hobgoblin all ready for me and everything. nice beer. I was just like. This is why I love this man, because he's someone I met at Bloodstock back in 2010. He was a DJ, one of the DJs there, and he always had a super soaker for whiskey. He's like, you just get it loaded, tell you to open your mouth and just shoot it in your mouth.
Yep.
A man by the name of Shaky. Just boof.
Keep everybody hydrated.
Just get them hydrated, listening to metal, and that's the only festival I've never actually, when you drink too much, you think you're going to throw up. That's never happened to me there. Ever.
You know what? I've never drank that much at any show ever because I've wanted to enjoy the shows.
Yeah, that's what I
didn't start drinking until I was 21.
Oh, fair enough.
So by the time I was, dying to party. I've been smoking weed since I was like 16, but I didn't start drinking until I was 21. And by that time, I've already watched all my friends, how much they drank, how they acted, when their fucking tipping point was, and all this other shit. So by the time I was like, I actually kind of like the taste of beer and alcohol now. So I started drinking, and I've always kept and maintained a limit to keep myself aware of everything that's going on, but still have a fucking sweet buzz where, you know, I still want to
yeah, definitely.
But I've never blacked out. I've never blacked out drinking in my life.
Yeah, I've only ever
puked 3 times my whole life.
Oh, that's good.
3 times my whole life, and that's it.
Yeah, I've hit it hard. Not when it's a band. After all the bands have finished and it's like the club night at the one of the tents at Bloodstock, the Sophie tent. Yeah, that's when I'll just drink loads and let's go back to my tent, drink some beer or rum or what the hell I bought. I just take too much because I'm stupid. And then I just go and buy a beer at the bar, take my drinking horn, because like if I'm like, oh, Anonymous playing, I'll take my drinking horn. Even if they're not playing and it's like a Viking metal band, I'll still take my drinking horn. I'll just take my drinking horn regardless. It's not like down there where you got your drinking horn, they won't fill it up. At Bloodstock, there was like a couple of them, like I got, because sometimes it was either a bloke or it was a woman serving me, and they'd be like, oh, what beer do you, it's like, oh, what do you want? Hobgoblin? Do you want it in the horn? Yes.
Right on.
So it's like, right on. Yeah, yes, this is why I love Bloodstock. Go to hell, download. No, download's alright. It's just a long walk. It's just a long walk from your campsite to the arena. It's no, just no.
Right.
Bloodstock's like a 5-minute walk. 2 minutes to the main stage. You're done. And there's a Lemmy bar.
Oh, perfect.
And there's a Lemmy bar as well. Because the main stage is named after Ronnie James Dio. One bar's named after Lemmy. One tent's named after Sophie Lancaster, who was the goth girl. Well, she cast herself as a mosher, who was murdered back in 2007. So it's all dedicated to like 3 really important people within.
Sweet.
Seeing here, like within like the Bloodstock community, like the 3 biggest ones there, and obviously within the scene as well. And I show a lot of people at Bloodstock a lot of respect because they always put on a great festival. Because I went in 2010 the first time, and every time I went from there on, I was just like, why is it always this amazing? Like, come on. Like, I'm seeing a Hobgoblin bar. I'm seeing a stall called Mr. T, so I can get a nice cup of tea and a cookie or something. Or now it's Motley Brew. Or there's the Lemmy bar, or there's a Bullet Bourbon bar, and there's just bars everywhere in the arena. It's like cool. Let's go get a drink there.
Yeah.
Or there's bands there. On. There's a Jägermeister stage as well. So when there's bands playing, there's a bar there, so you can get pretty much anything Jägermeister. Doy. And I always have the Route 56, which is Jägermeister and ginger beer.
Oh, ew.
It's alright. Probably have to put a bit more Jaeger with it. It's a bit more Jaeger.
I'm not a big ginger beer guy myself. I'm not into the IPAs and the ryes and all those crap beers.
Well, I was drinking.
It's just not me.
Drinking an amber.
I can't do it.
Drinking an amber ale earlier.
Gotcha.
It's a Bristol Beer Factory beer. They're really good. There's a pub as well. Yeah. Well, this is learned a lot from you today. Well, this afternoon or this evening, whatever the frick it is for you. What time's it here? Oh bloody hell! It's
like 9 o'clock there now, isn't it?
It's like It's 4 minutes past 8.
Oh, okay.
It's like still light out, so well, I'm gonna get another beer in a bit. Probably watch some more of your interviews on YouTube. And
sweet.
So before we end this off, is there anything else you want to talk about? You know, the Growl. Is there anything you want to tell people about the Growl? How many people have you got left to do live streams with, or is it just?
It's just gonna keep going as long as we're still dealing with this shit. We're still gonna keep doing them. I'm not doing as many as I was at the beginning, just because I have I am working on some other projects.
Yeah, you need
that
to.
I kind of need to focus on.
Yeah.
So I mean, because like doing 4 interviews a week is, it's not a lot, but it is though.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to, obviously come up with questions and some ideas and do some research and do all that. So it actually does take up a lot of time. And so I was like, 4 is a little much. And then I went to 3, and I'm like, 3 is a little much. I think I'm just going to do 2 a week.
Yeah, I was going to say just do 2 a week. Just do 2 a week.
It's fine with me, man. I'm not.
Yeah. Your sound went off. Your sound's off. I cannot hear you. It's not on my end. Having some technical difficulties. But I'll look at your comments while he's sorting out. Thanks Greg for saying that. David Gregor, how do you say it? It's not on my end, is it? Nope. No, I'll just let them sort out. I'll read your comments. Yeah, Greg, thank you for actually asking that question. His favourite metal albums. Besides the Bruce Dickinson Iron Maiden, what do you think of the Paul Di'Anno and... Oh, Blaze, I was just trying to think of Greg, who's the other vocalist from Maiden. Well, that's weird. Nope. Can't hear you. No. What's going on? Okay, I think we lost him. Sound wise, not face wise, he's still there. Well, at least we lasted this long. Well, yeah, we lasted this long. I mean, I could call you back and see if that does anything. Should I just call you back? I'll call you back. I'll call you back and see if that does anything. Okay, no, something's happening. Oh, here we go. There we go. Had a bit of a technical snafu. Right. I was just reading the comments before you could get your sound sorted. I was like, I've ruined the interview. That's it, peoples. That's it. No more Jake's Metal Chat.
I gotta jet anyways though, because like I said, we're grabbing the pizza.
Oh
yeah.
Together
and everything.
Well, so thank you for taking part. It's a pleasure. Keep doing the interviews. Keep everyone up to date with the Growl, and I hope to meet you in person when this is all over.
Oh, damn straight, man. As long as we still keep listening to metal, man, I'm pretty sure we're going to run into each other sooner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll hopefully get to Quebec Death Fest next year. Hopefully. I say hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm doing UK Death Fest, so...
Sweet.
So, Massacre and Autopsy are playing, so yeah. Right, see you later, Cam. Enjoy your pizza and the rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you very much, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah, awesome, man. Take care of yourself.
Kick ass, dude.
Kick ass.
Yeah.
Okay. Apart from that little technical snafu with the sound, I think that went pretty well. Thank you for those tuning in. At first we had like 15 people, and I got 2 friend requests. Oh, look at those later. And thanks Greg for, if you want to do another stream like this or just buy a scope or whatever, please let me know. We can do it that way. For future episodes of this, I'm not sure when I'm doing any more. I need to confirm that with some other people. I'm not going to say who I may or may not have. I may get some people like some more guests, musicians, presenters, or just average lovers of the metal scene. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed these. Like Cam, well, I forgot to mention this in the. Cam just is watching. I was going to say, Cam, to you earlier when you were still on, thank you for giving me the idea to do this, because I never would have thought doing it otherwise. So I thank you for that, and I hope that we meet again in person. Not meet again, what am I saying? I hope we meet soon. Same with Ken from Ken's Death Metal Crypt, and all the other people that I've spoken to. I met Greg, the Strong Boys 19 before, in Worcester for Fury, and that was a great show. Yeah, what we were talking about, with like when you talk about like with death metal, you get all the bands like Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angel. You know all those bands, but then you don't know the bands like I mentioned earlier, like Rochevore and his band Mangled, and his other band Coffin Rot. There's also one from America. I'm going to give them a listen as well. Tomb Mold, everyone's going to know them, but then a lot of those bands would just get pushed to one side. Like Tomb Mold might get pushed to one side. Same with Cerebral Rot and Fed and Rotten. They might all just get pushed to the side because you get all the bigger like death metal bands, but then the more people listen to these sort of bands, then they're like, wow, these guys are really cool. And I'm like, yeah, they are really cool. So Cam, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and there's a time difference for half of them. With the UK guests that I will be getting on, because I got quite a few of those actually. I'm not sure when I'm going to be doing the next one. I hope I'm not going to leave it like a month. If I can do one by mid this month or late this month or start of next month, yeah, I'm going to do it for like just two, maybe just one each week, maybe two, because I did two on the first what I did, that was David Gregor from Modest Scold, and yes, on the costume. So and then after that, of course, you saw John McEntee's from Incantation, Greg Blackburn, the Strong Boys 19, and now you've just seen Cannibal Cam of the Growl. So thank you very much for tuning in. Not sure when, like I said, the next one is. I'm blabbering on now. What's that? Okay, there's something to do with Bloodstock. I'll have a look at that later. Keep supporting the metal scene. Keep looking after each other. Keep in contact with each other throughout this horrible pandemic we're going through at the moment. I will be back with another episode of Jake's Metal Chat. And if there's anyone who wants to be a part of it, by all means, message me. It's all good. We can chat about metal, horror films, just about anything you're interested in. We can talk about your favourite pizza topping, or your favourite fantasy-based novel, like your fantasy-based books, or whatever, like your favourite fantasy film. For me, it had to be Lord of the Rings, so there you go. Thank you. Stay tuned for more. I'll post about it in the coming weeks. And yeah, I'll see you all again soon. Cheers.